I want to talk about something quickly that's coming to me because I was at the gym this morning. I had Isabel in the daycare, and she was, I don't know, she was like doing something that was impressing the lady at the daycare, and there was another mom there picking up her kid. And she was just really impressed by my baby. And I was like, well, she's my fourth baby, and she's a little different than the other babies. And that mom made this comment about how she was like, oh, see, that's like a professional mom. Um, she was saying how she sort of like barely scrapes by. And I was like, well, my first daughter I had when I was very young, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I figured it out, and I had lots of babies. So I've kind of like nailed that process down, I guess. Like I've gotten pretty good at handling babies, as you would imagine. And also they're all different. Anyways, the point of this is that it got me thinking about how we so frequently in or not we sorry, what I'm trying to say is oh my gosh, um there's this thing that happens to each person. It's the coming of age, I guess I'm talking about the coming of age experience, where for me, coming of age was having a baby. Like I had a baby, and then that was the thing that forced me to get my stuff together. And I think that for a lot of people, it's having a kid, but some people don't have a kid. And for some people, it's like there's a job, it's some responsibility is put onto you, and you have to kind of get it together and get it done and do this thing and show up for this thing and show up in a new way. And that is it's an experience of maturing, and it's an experience of like, yeah, coming into like a new way of being. But there's this thing about this process, which is that because it usually happens like sort of incidentally, what I mean by that is like I didn't set out to have this maturing process. I didn't set out to get my shit together. It was more like, oh shit, now I have another person that I'm responsible for. I need to remember to like bring water and bring diapers, and like so I had to be accountable to this other person, and that forced me to do it. Like it happened as a side effect of this other thing. So it wasn't consciously thought out. It was like, it was like uh, just, yeah, incidental. And so what happens though is that we come up with ways to sort of like cope or handle the responsibilities that we've got, or like do these things that we're supposed to do. I'm just watching my snake destroy a plant in her tank. This is what they do. I put plants in their tank and they just destroy them. um, they just are plant murderers, these snakes. Anyways, so what happens is what I've like really learned is that um there's so much more room when we consciously take on this form of like of um getting our shit together. So like when we actively decide to set up systems to make our lives better, there is so much potential, and often there's like a lot of really low hanging fruit, like just even in the way that we have our houses organized, in the way that we have our desk organized, in the way that you have your kitchen organized, in the way that you have, how do you use your calendar? How does it integrate with your email? Like even just setting up a calendar, connecting accounts, like there's all these things that um if you put the intention into setting up the system, it's so much easier to have your shit together and therefore to do all the things that you want to do. I mean, the modern American human. Like there are so many things that I personally want to do in my life. And I don't know, I've seen these reels on Instagram that are really funny where they talk about like how we're expected to do like so many things, like keep the house clean, take care of the kids, have a job, have a social life, like eat healthy, go to the gym. Like how do you juggle all of that? And the way that you juggle all of that is to consciously set up your life and your systems so that all of it is like maintainable for the long distance, like for the long term. I'm always talking to my husband about how like I'm playing the long game. And we've been going to the gym, and they have these like free sessions where they like measure all your body, like your weight and your muscle and everything, and then you create a goal. And my husband had his session today, and he was telling me how he told the woman, he was like, my goal is to have a sustainable thing so that in 30 years I'm still showing up and working out. And that's sort of how we're looking at everything. Like I'm not trying to like, I mean, obviously, we have, I have like a desire to, I've just put on 30 pounds having this baby, and I would like to lose that. She's just having a great time. Are you talking to yourself? Um, but I want it to be, I want it to be sustainable, because I'm not going to lose 30 pounds overnight. I'm going to lose 30 pounds by having a like eating and exercise regimen that fits into my lifestyle so that I can maintain it, so that it can continue, so that I don't just like lose the weight and then gain the weight and then lose the weight and then gain the weight. And then like, what am I really getting with that? That's like a very stressful way to do things. So like the approach is always, and sometimes we take this too far. So I'm just, sometimes I laugh at my husband because he gets really intense. Like one morning, one time he was working on a patent application, and he woke up at like 6 in the morning and he worked on it. And then that day we were on the way to the gym, and he was like, that worked out so well. I want to like do that every day. And I was like, yeah, just because it worked well once doesn't mean you have to do it every day. Like we don't need to be that intense. Like everything we do that works, we don't need to project it into the future. But some things that do work and are sustainable, we do. Like that's kind of what it's about. It's definitely like a trial and error process. Um, but yeah. So anyways, I have more to share on this. I am currently writing a book and editing a book, but I've got a book that's happening next about on these topics, and a course that I'm going to be putting out before the book. So on Saturday Magic. So so yeah, I just wanted to share about that today. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.